Welcome back to Gotta Be Me podcast. We're so happy to be here again with you today. We are your hosts. My name is Sophia Benyon, and this is my cousin, Peyton Benyon.
Welcome back to our channel, everybody. If you are new here, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But do not comment if you're going to ask if we're Amish, because we already said that we're not Amish. So that is not the comment to
We're
make.
getting so tired of people asking us that. Like, I feel like we've answered that question so many times. We've made like 3 videos about it.
People are just too lazy to go look. Like, we already said it. We literally have a video that says who and what are you. Like, no.
No, we're not Amish. We've said that.
Anyways, I just want to get that off my chest before we start today.
We are so excited about our guest for today. She's an activist here in the Black community here where we live, and we're so thankful for the work she's been doing and will continue to do. Her name is Sasha King. We're so happy to have her with us here today.
Thanks for having me.
So Sasha, since it's Black History Month, we thought we'd start off our questions with talking about that, and we kind of wanted to know what did Black history mean for you as a child and young person, and kind of how has that changed over the years?
So honestly, Black History Month didn't mean very much to me growing up because I didn't hear about it very much.
Okay.
Didn't learn about it in schools. My parents, so although they instilled in me a sense of Black pride and,
That's wonderful.
Black things, but we didn't really spend a lot of time on Black history.
So was your school, so I'm assuming we're talking about like school years that it didn't mean much to you.
Yes.
Did you have Black teachers? Was it a majority Black student body?
So no, no and no. In elementary, I think I had a Black gym teacher. I went to 2 different schools. So at one school I had a Black gym teacher. Other than that, not until high school. I think
like a reoccurring theme.
One Black teacher maybe in high school. But I do remember in elementary school, one of my teachers, I don't remember what grade I was in, but one of them had us do a project for Black History Month.
Okay.
And I can't remember if they assigned who I would have or if I picked, but I picked Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay, that's a good one.
And so, we did research on it and, did a presentation, and I always remember that.
Really
and that's how you know that just how important representation is, because the one time I did something like that always stuck with me. I shared that, later years, talking about Black History Month. But yeah, that was really the only thing. Now, when we got into high school, and we, talk about slavery in class and things like that, but that was nothing. It's not, a positive conversation that we were having. It was more like we're talking about slavery, and then all the white kids in the class are like
started
looking at you.
That's funny.
So there was a lot of discussion about African American heroes and people who.
Oh, not at all.
Really?
Do you have a favorite hero right now?
I don't really have a favorite. I like Malcolm X. That's it.
Yeah.
I always like Angela Davis so much.
Yeah,
she was rocking that fro, and I'll never forget when I first heard about her and I found out that she went to court and was her own lawyer and got herself out of jail. I was like, that is great.
Yes,
Super admirable.
Yep.
So when do you feel like you started, or have you always really cared about being Black and Black history and what that meant, or when do you feel like that changed for you, if not?
No, to be honest, I think not growing up and it being of any importance, you kind of just go your life and just, So no, I would honestly say, as the climate of the world changed and, there were shootings and police brutality and
it started
things
being
like
in the
that,
media, right?
Yes, as that became very popular in the media, and I, for whatever reason, became really fixated on watching the news and looking, at what was going on, and that, I would say, was a significant shift for me. George Floyd, I was super passionate about and still am very super passionate about Breonna Taylor. And so that's what really got me really passionate about.
So it was like
pretty
5
recently.
or so years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Wasn't
Yes.
too long
Yep.
ago. Well, so me and Peyton have our Concrete Rose shirts on here.
Yes, I love it.
We love them. We were so happy when you
I should have worn mine.
made an opportunity for us to have them, and we're sad that we weren't young enough to ever like be a part of the organization that you founded, but we would love for you to tell the world a little bit about what Concrete Rose is and means and kind of how you founded it.
Did it like start from your inspiration those 5 years ago when you started realizing, okay, there's a problem here?
That's
and
a
then you were
good
like,
question.
we need something for our youth.
First off, Concrete Rose is a youth nonprofit specific for Black youth. So I originally had the idea to start Concrete Rose because I have children of my own, and they go to predominantly white schools. They're underrepresented there. They don't have it. Well, they have a Black teacher now, but I think it's
Black
like
teacher.
a Black teacher as the first Black teacher ever in history of the school.
That's crazy.
And that's just this year. So at the time, there had never been a Black teacher. Honestly, the only Black employee I'd ever seen there was a janitor.
Are you serious?
Yes. So, and they're just the minority of students there as well. Like they grew up being the only Black kid in their class, or maybe just a couple here and there. And so I wanted, because of the experience I had growing up and not knowing very much about Black history, and although I went to a school where there were more Black students, but there still weren't very many. And so I thought it was important that the children begin to learn their history.
Right.
And so that's where the idea came from. There are some other things that went into that, but that's where the idea first sparked from. But yes, in addition to that, over the past few years, what really pushed me to get Concrete Rose started was what I was seeing, what was going on in the world, and it really kind of lit a fire in me.
So why do you feel like you personally have such a burden for it? Not everyone just wants people to know their history and then starts an organization,
And not everybody can. Like, you have a special gift that you can bring young people together and do this.
A big reason is because of representation. I know that when you see positive representations of yourself, then it makes you feel like you can do anything. And so I want for young people to have positive representations of themselves. One thing we do in Concrete Rose is that we have guest speakers that are all Black come in and speak to the kids. So just different kind of professionals, teachers. Who else have we had?
Brother Steph come. You've had a mental health person come.
Yes, we've had mental health professionals.
Which that kind of stuff is really nice for children to see. I know what I would have loved to be a part of a program
Absolutely.
like that.
And it's like, it gives the children ideas, because I think they can be stuck in just like, well, this is what we do. Especially like, for example, if their parents had a rough time, or, if all they see is like, for example, like you said, the only Black representation in the school was a janitor. Well, then the child gets stuck in that and like, I guess we're janitors. That's what we do. When no, we can be teachers, we can be professors, we can be, politicians, whatever it is. And being able to see someone that's doing that, it's like, oh, okay, I can do that too, right?
Absolutely. And another thing that is really important is that some of our kids that we have come from, they may have one white parent, one Black parent, they may be adopted and not have a Black parent in their home at all. They may not live in a Black community, so they may have no one.
Right.
And that's really tough to work through on your own, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I love to try to reach that population of people, children in foster care, just while they're where they are, if they can be a part of us, we definitely embrace that. We've had several kids in foster care be a part of Concrete Rose, and then they leave, and whether it's a good experience and good situation, they leave and they're able to go home to their parents. We were at least able to impact them for the time that they were with us. So.
Well, I have to say personally, that's a big reason I would have loved to have been a part of something like Concrete Rose, right? Like my mom's white and my dad's black, so there's that. And then also most of my growing up years, we were pretty much the only African American children around. We had diversity in our area. We had some like Filipino friends and that we went to school with, and Latino friends and things like that. But as far as African American, we were the only ones. And like you said, representation and just being able to hang out with people of your culture that deal with, your hair trouble or, whatever it is.
Yes. Yep.
It's like we're belatedly coming along to volunteer with Concrete Rose. Right?
Yeah. I was going to say when earlier, I was like, you are a part of Concrete Rose. Even
Well,
though
thank you.
You're not in the age group, but I mean,
we try to volunteer.
You volunteer. You're welcome to always come to our meetings. So yeah, you are.
We feel like we're playing catch up, but we appreciate the opportunity you're giving us to do it.
That's okay.
And I'm so encouraged that you got like passionate about it like recently, because I feel like I'm like just not really realizing like I am black,
Yes,
what does this mean for me?
yes.
What does this mean for me in society? When I go around, what image does that, how does this all fit in? How does it all work? And it's nice that children are having someone that's able to guide them through that. And like, this is what you're going to face. This is what it's going to look like. This is what you need to do.
Absolutely, yes. So another thing that makes Concrete Rose so important is that when I say that it's specific for Black youth, I mean it is a space for only Black youth. So some people have a hard time wrapping their head around that because
Some
it's
people will.
excluding like a whole other population. But I stand on that 10 toes down because, we've already talked about being the only Black child in your class, in your church, at your school. So it's very important that there's a space where you can come with other people that look like you.
I agree.
So not just seeing it from guest speakers, but just having time where you can just be with other people that look like
Absolutely.
you. Now, we absolutely invite for... well, like I said, we have the youth are in different types of households. So we have parents that volunteer that are white, just community members. So we're definitely inclusive in that regard, but for our monthly meetings, that is a time that we can have with one another.
No, people do too much. They need to get over it.
They literally need to there's all kinds of organizations all around that are just white, and I'm not saying, they can do their thing, but let us do our thing, right? Like,
Yes.
they don't have to be a part of everything.
That's right. That's right.
And if, there was a time, a long time in history where it was true that African Americans were not allowed to be a part of those circles. And there's a certain strength that we can draw from being with just each other, a certain way you can be when you're around just each other, right? So
certain way that you can talk, like
Right.
even with our elementary groups, I mean, they will sit there and share experiences of racism that they've already experienced
crazy.
in their young age, and they can't have these conversations with their white friends.
Right.
And so they are so open and honest when we have these conversations, and it just shows you how much it's needed.
Well, we're so thankful that you're providing that space for like our younger siblings, our younger cousins and things like
I
that.
love
So glad
them.
they can be a part. They're fun, and they love your sons. They love hanging out. They talk about them all the time. So that's good. You want to tell the audience how many sons you have?
I have 5. 5.
5 sons, like
I have 5 sons. The oldest is 19 and the youngest is 7 months. So, and all I wanted every single time was a girl. No, every single time. Now I have a stepdaughter, and so that helps. But I don't have a little mini me that looks like me.
looks like you.
Like a little
Aw.
Sasha, to dress up with. I don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
it's sad. I would be sad.
I don't know why the Lord did that to me. He said that He would give me the desires of my heart, and
It was not happening.
That's what he didn't quite
I
come
don't
through
know.
right there.
No, I love, there's a reason why I guess I have.
He must have known you were good at raising boys.
I guess so.
So how are you able to like kind of gather so many young people in the community? I mean, okay, well, let's talk about how many do you have in the elementary group, and then
Members.
So,
I guess you have 3 groups, right?
Altogether, there are 3 groups. Altogether, we have a little over 50. So we started off with 25 high school age, and those 25 kids were handpicked by me or recommended by one of our board members. And I started off that way because I just didn't know how it would go. I didn't know if people would be receptive
see what
to
would
it,
happen.
and just wanted to see. So it was really like a trial run. And so, in that, once we got started and it was going great, there were so many people that were like mad that, these kids were picked and then I didn't give that as an opportunity, which it was always a plan to expand that. So the following year, we added an elementary group.
Okay.
Actually, it was a kindergarten up into 6th grade, and that left a gap for 7th and 8th graders. So in year 3, we now service 1st grade through 12th grade.
So this is your 3rd year of
This is our 3rd year, yes.
It seems like it's been very successful.
Yeah, it has been. It has been.
So I guess the other part of my question is, how do you have this connection? Like, how did you have just 25 children right off the bat?
So one thing that I've noticed with programs, and not just in Muncie, but just in general, is that for one, people don't always buy into it, and for two, people aren't consistent with it.
Right.
And so I started off with a group of kids that I knew their parents are going to hold them accountable. They're going to make sure they're there.
So these were like your friends in the community, kind
Yeah,
of.
friend, but not even all friends. Just people maybe that I even knew of. Like, I see you on Facebook. I know your mom, and I know your mom is going to make sure that,
you show up.
You show up.
You do your thing.
Show up.
No tomfoolery.
Yes, yes. So with the program, you have to commit. It's a commitment for the parents. It's a commitment for the kids. I don't want a kid in my program that is only there because their parents are making them do it. So when we have signups, we do interviews. Like, I want to know why you want to do this. And if you tell me you don't want to do it, or you're only there because your mom sent you, then I will say, well, thank you, but try again next year. But I have not had that.
I don't see how you could. Like, who would not want to be a part of
But it's work, so like you
have to do community service hours, right? How many do you have to do a year?
This year we have 15 hours of community service, which is not hard. I find the stuff for them to do,
right?
But sometimes we still have trouble getting it in a whole year. But I'm really proud of where everyone is with their hours this year.
That's good.
So community service, and then there's Black History.
How many hours of Black History do they have to get?
20 hours.
That's really good.
And
that is
not
so
bad.
good. And if you go through your program, through
1st through 12th grade, I mean, how many hours is that in
every
total?
year, like that's
Much
excellent.
more compared to the one report you got in school, right?
Absolutely.
So you're making changes in people's
Yes,
lives.
I'm
you're
trying
really
to.
affecting people.
Yes,
That's beautiful.
I'm trying to.
We're so glad you're doing that. Our last question for today, and if you have something else, go ahead, or something else you want to say, Sister Sasha, please go ahead. But my last question is, you've been working with these youth now for 3 years, and even before that, your job involves you working with a lot of youth. And I was just wondering if you would have any short or long, whatever you feel, advice for our generation, people our age, people younger than us.
Any lacks that you see in particular?
And any ways we can work on that, because like the world's not getting better, and you have 5 boys, like you said, and they're in both generations. They cover all those age gaps, so age groups. So what would be your advice to us as younger people, as younger Black women? What would you say?
Enjoy your youth. Don't try to grow up too fast. You're young women. Have fun.
I think we do that, right?
Will we try?
We could do more.
I started having children really young, so there was never a period of time in my life where I lived by myself, where I was not responsible for someone else. So just take time and be young, because you're gonna wake up tomorrow. Literally tomorrow you're gonna wake up and you're just like, I'm 25. Nothing's gonna happen.
She's gonna be 25 soon.
Don't remind me.
Or 35 or whatever. It's just gonna go so quick. And I just really think that you should do the things that you want to do while you're still young. Before you start having a family and things like that. Take your time. Don't rush it. Don't rush the process. Enjoy your life. Stay woke. Like, you got to know what's going on around you. That's so important. It's so easy to get caught up in day-to-day life, working, raising a family, and things like that, that you turn a blind eye to what's going on.
And I think so many people do. Like they just
Oh,
get busy,
They
right?
just kind of go through their life like on auto.
Yes, absolutely.
You just wake up. I find myself like another week went by, and then it's like 3 months, and I've just woken up, gone back to school, woke up, had to eat something, work out, try to work out, and then like you don't ever.
That's so true. Like, I mean, I could. One day I had on like a Breonna Taylor shirt, and some lady was like, "Who's Breonna Taylor?" I'm like, "What world are you living in?" You know, and it's so it's just easy. It's not. And if it's not, it's hard stuff. So who wants to really spend time
Bring
to
it up, talk
bring
about it.
that up or talk about that? It's hard stuff. But I think that it's really important to keep talking about things that are going on in the world and continue to be proud in who you are as Black women, even though that you have a white parent. I want you to feel comfortable in knowing that you are Black women. And then also, I read a lot of your comments, and everyone's asking about the way you dress and church and all that, and just being modest. Like, continue to be proud in how you were raised and what you believe, and don't let anyone defer you from that. So.
Well, Sister Sasha, we want to thank you so much for coming on our show. We hope to have you back. We'd like to talk about your job sometime. I think what you do is very interesting. We won't mention it this time. Hopefully we get her back sometime soon. We loved having you. We're so thankful for your wisdom, so thankful for the work that you're doing in the community. We're thankful that you're providing us a place to help work in the community. We're very passionate about being involved, so we thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Y'all know what time it is. Peace, love, and hair grease.